Hello, this is Significant Brothers Podcast. We are the Freestone Brothers. I'm Cray. I'm also here with Chase and Brad, and we are going to talk about voices in the media. And side note, we are not experts on anything, so please enjoy.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Okay.
I like it. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start.
It's very difficult talking about it, like choosing a topic and then not having anything to say about it. The only other thing I was going to talk about was the Mid-Atlantic English accent that used to exist, like the one that Frasier has on the show Frasier, and how weird it is. And it's like half American, half English. But that's all it really is. It's just this old accent that used to exist, that used to be prestigious in like Northeastern American communities, and now it doesn't exist anymore because it's not in vogue.
Well, was there a purpose for it?
So the Mid-Atlantic English accent was meant to, I guess, distinguish who's in the upper crust and also who is in acting, because it's a common thing to be like in radio and movies was to have this accent. So that was the purpose, was just kind of to sound fancy. I don't know how many English people would try to learn the Mid-Atlantic accent, or if it's just an American way to sound more sophisticated. But it was not an English accent, but it was also not an American accent. But no one does it anymore. There used to be like schools for teaching it. Someone codified all the ways you can, Edith Skinner, I think. She codified all the ways you should pronounce things in the language. But I tried reading it on Wikipedia, and I can't understand those pronunciation guides, you know, that you see in the dictionary.
Yeah.
It'll be like book, and then it'll have like, I don't know, an O with a line over it. And I'm like, that means nothing to me.
I think that'd almost be a really useful thing to learn. Not Mid-Atlantic English, but those guides.
I agree, because they seem kind of definitive, and if you like actually learned what they were, then it'd probably be of some use.
I think if everyone knew that, it'd be really easy just to like explain stuff.
Yeah,
I agree.
Obviously, it's not pertinent. Like, we don't need to.
Yeah, I think I can get through most of the rest of my life without having to know that, but it'd be nice to know.
It's kind of like you have and you could just go to any website, like a dictionary website or Google, and then hear how it's pronounced. But I don't know if that actually suffices as not knowing the pronunciation guide. It'd be pretty much like using Google Translate to learn Spanish. Not convenient by any means.
That's true. It would just be like an initial hard investment of trying to learn it, and then it'd be good, I guess.
Now that I think of it, actually, the only time that you do see those pronunciation guides is in dictionaries. And I don't really read a physical dictionary too often, and normally there's the little microphone thing to tell you how to pronounce it.
Well, Wikipedia too.
Yeah, actually, that's true. But those are for, I feel like, actual linguists. Like, it's not for the common person to know.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily always there. I think someone just adds it in. They're like, this is how you do it. But that's really all I had to contribute on voices like in the media.
That is interesting. I want to say that Mr. Feeney had a transatlantic accent.
Was it English? I don't know.
I don't think he... No, in fact, I think in one episode someone called him English and he said he's from New England, so...
That would make sense then.
Oh, he totally does. Yeah, Andy's old, so...
So that would explain... Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that'd explain. Maybe he grew up with it or something.
That'd be messed up.
That would.
Because, you know, the only way that you grow up with it is either your parents are actors or they wanted you to be an actor, so they made you try it.
Yeah, or you just hung around with that crowd of people who's spoken that accent. Imagine how weird that'd be. It'd just have like this small group of people talking. Like, imagine if, I don't know, our politicians don't like talk in a certain way, but if they all did in that way, that'd be a bad way to get elected.
You know what's interesting, though, is at first, I think what I don't like about that whole accent is that it seems super fake and put on. But if you did it enough around kids and stuff, it's not fake and put on anymore. It's like that's the only way they know how to speak. Like,
well, it just seems really classist.
I'd say it is.
I think it definitely is.
That's probably why it didn't catch on. Well, I mean, it probably caught on for like 60 years, so...
That's pretty significant.
That is. But then I guess we just stopped caring about it. We realize we're all in this together.
I think a little bit in the media, there still is kind of towards, not a transatlantic one, and I have nothing to back this up, but how many times in like a regular show do you hear someone with a Southern accent and it's just like normal and there's not like a play on them being in the South?
Oh, never. The Midwestern accent is actually the most desirable when it comes to news.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm. We have a very a desired accent, especially if you're coming from another accent. Like I'm sure if you're out west or out east, it's a little bit different. But if you're like coming from the south, you're going to change your accent to a Midwestern accent. Obviously tone down some of the nasal A's and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I guess that'd be the only thing I could think of. What would not be pleasant to listen to would be our A's.
Yes, well, sometimes the sure thing is not the best thing. But I know you'll do what's right.
Chase, did you have anything you wanted to share?
All right, you're going to have to let me roll into this. In the long arc of recorded sound, we are doing a thing now that a lot of people have done in the past, recording audio. But do you know who the first person to record audio was?
No.
I want to say Alexander Graham Bell, but I'm sure that's wrong.
Yeah, I know. I think the original inventor of the phonograph was from Thomas Edison, but the first guy to invent the phonautograph was Leon Scott, and he was interested in like how vibrations made sound. And so I don't know if you guys know how they work, but essentially you talk into like a cylinder and then it vibrates a needle, then presses down and I guess would be like a vinyl record. But the thing that was very cool about Edison's phonograph was it was the first one, I think, to use a spiral, like so it actually spiraled around so you could fit more on a single record. No, I got that mistaken actually. In 1887, Emil Berliner made the gramophone, and the gramophone made like a spiral groove when recording. And the reason that was very significant was because it made mass production a lot easier for voice recordings. And that was like that was before radio broadcasting really took off, because I think radio broadcasting took off like in the early 1900s, and that was patented in the late 1880s.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really early. Yeah, it didn't really take off to be something really viable until the early 1900s.
But I think in 2008 they took the original things that Leon Scott, the Frenchman, recorded, and they have digital files of them now. But I think they're in French, so you can't really interpret them, and they don't sound that good.
Yeah. So the first guy was French who recorded it? It's always the French, isn't it?
Yeah. Patented in 1850 something.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, patented in 1857.
It just always amazes me how early people were able to figure things out.
Yeah.
It's
Like they could do something back then, and I couldn't figure out how to do it now.
No.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Brad, did you have anything you want to contribute?
I mean, it's kind of off kilter, but in terms of like radio voice and purposes of why we talk the way we do, there was a study that was done, looks like only a few years ago, so it's pretty recent, showing how people change their pitch based on if they're talking to someone they are attracted to. It's more of a kind of a flirting type thing. You have your other flirting gestures that I guess I just really don't understand because I don't consider myself much of a flirter. No, but this research was done at University of Liverpool and Scotland, University of Stirling, and it's a small sample size. It's only around 200 people, but it just kind of shows that men, specifically men, tend to lower their voice when they're talking to someone who is attractive of the opposite sex, maybe even of the same sex. I don't know. They didn't really go into it in the study. They always adjust it to lower pitch. Maybe it's because it makes them seem more manly and verbose. I don't know.
You know, that reminds me of a friend I had when he would talk to girls, and he would always lower his voice. At first I thought, maybe he was just doing that out of I don't know, some defense mechanism, but maybe subconsciously he was just really trying to flirt.
So it was more with women, not just like people in general.
Well, yeah, no, with girls.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
very noticeably.
There was another part of the study I missed. Women also tend to do it, but more around other women, other attractive women is more of like possibly a competition type thing.
Oh, wait. So will women lower their voices, or like?
It didn't say lower their voice, but it said modulate their voices.
So could that mean higher your voice?
It doesn't say.
Well, modulate just means like change to a different pitch, I guess. So
yeah,
it could be higher or lower, but not the same. Now I feel like I'm going to be super conscious and going to be like observing if people are changing their speaking patterns, or if I do.
I don't think that's bad. I think we should be aware of what we do.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of interesting, but I remember hearing this. If you hear, gay people talk, you can tell they have
gay voice.
It's like a gay lisp to it or something. You can, not in everybody, but it turns out, from what I remember, it's an American thing. Other countries, gay people don't do that. So here's the interesting part is that they think it spawned from the Californian accent. If you like recall the cliche like surfer accent, that's kind of like what a Californian accent sounds a little bit like, which was very common in San Francisco, which had a lot of gay neighborhoods. And, you know, the Castro being the first neighborhood in the U.S., I think, to like label itself as like a gay neighborhood in San Francisco. So it's like a subconscious thing that is like turned on to let people know that they're gay, but like to like kind of reach out to other gay people because it's not easy to tell if someone else is gay or not.
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense because like it kind of creates a sense of community. Like that mid-Atlantic English accent, it was for this community, but for like the, I guess, gay voice, if we're gonna call it that, it's like to create this sense of community, or maybe it's just really subconscious.
I don't
realize it.
That's the thing, though. I think it does create a sense of community, but it's to the point where I think like some people don't know that they're doing it.
Now, I guess the question after all this is, should we do radio voices, or have we already changed our voices from our normal talking patterns and we just don't realize it? I think you guys sound the same. So I don't think it's. I think it's the former.
But by doing this, maybe all voices are radio voices, and we should just learn to accept people for who they are.
That's cheesy.
It is. I don't think we have radio voices. All of us.
No, I think my voice is a little bit lower right now. Just one, kind of a conscious level, and two, when I started talking, I had just like woken up an hour before, and I hadn't really used my voice much.
That's fair.
So you're on the radio. You don't change your voice at all?
I don't think I do it much. I might drop a pitch a little bit, but I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I need to make sure I'm using my radio voice specifically. If anything, it's just a thing that happens.
I think what we gather from this is that changing your pitch for certain situations is actually a very natural thing that people do and very subconscious.
Yeah, I would agree because, I mean, you not just pitch, but you kind of change the way you talk with other people depending on who you're talking to, or like, and like what you say. And maybe that's two-faced, but I think it's just kind of playing to the person.
Well, and I think part of it also is it's playing to the person. It's a cultural thing. Like you're going to talk differently with your friends than if you were talking to your boss or in front of a big committee. I mean, you go from like a casual thing to a very professional style of speech.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's bad.
Me neither. It's kind of like how you wouldn't do the same greeting everywhere around the world. Different cultures wouldn't do high fives or handshakes, or some would prefer hugs or kisses on the cheeks. It's kind of like everyone has their own little microculture, and you're supposed to know what that microculture is and be able to perform in that. I don't have any